Chapter 1. Integers. Before we start teaching our kids an interesting way to understand math, we should enlighten ourselves on how the brain works. As a starter, a link to the Wikipedia article is provided in the description of the video. Please do read the article to get a macro-level understanding of the functions of brain lobes. This knowledge is very much needed to find ways to teach math that is tailored to our kid. To summarize the information for the context of this video, the frontal lobe is associated with the short-term memory and executive control like organizing, planning, etc. The parietal lobe is associated with spatial sense, sensory inputs and linguistic processing. The temporal lobe is associated with forming new memories and learning new things. The visual processing happens at the occipital lobe. This is also the area that is in charge of visuospatial processing. With this, we could understand that the spatial recognition is a neuropsychological function and that spatial knowledge is an altogether separate component of human intelligence, very different from verbal and analytical aspects. Now, coming back to the chapter on integers, if we open any math textbook, an illustration of a number line representing the integers would be provided, and obviously for the illustration it would have taken a spatial reference, and mostly it would be a horizontal line. Just to be clear that the spatial cognition does not bother or limit the understanding of the concept of number line, you might want to offer the concept to the kid, explaining the line in a creative way. My preference is to take a step back and offer it as a story, for the creativity part of it, which reasoning I will explain in one of the upcoming videos, but we could also involve them in real-time experience that corresponds to the concept. Either case, we can also use different directions of the line, like the line extending vertical, from top to bottom, or line extending from front to back side, or a diagonal staircase, or even in a different system, using volumetric accessories like building blocks, etc. The story. Ganitha and Urvi lost their way in a mystic jungle. While they were searching for a way to return home, they came across the chief of the forest tribe. With his vast knowledge about the forest, he gave them directions for a magical beanstalk that grows from the ground to the clouds, climbing which they could get out of the forest. When they reached the magical beanstalk, they saw that a goblin was guarding the plant and asked its permission to climb up. For a math-crazy goblin it was. It gave them a quiz to answer and offered to allow them if they answered it spot on. The goblin continued, "If I granted you a magical power to climb 4 km whenever you jumped up, and also cursed you to come down by 2 km every time you climbed the challenge, and if the distance between the ground and cloud is 10 km, in how many attempts will you reach the cloud?" Task for you. A worksheet for integers is provided along with the illustration and corresponding problem as a PDF document. Please take a printout in A4 size paper and narrate the story to your kid. Remember, you are not narrating a problem but a story, and ask her or him to come up with a solution for the situation in story. Rather find out an answer for a problem. Once your child takes up the question and answers, check the numerically correct answer in the link provided in the description of this video and discuss as required. If you like this video, please comment, like and share.